Hi, my name is Angela O'Neill, and welcome to Stories in Progress. Stories are told in so many ways, through a book, a song, a play, a painting on a canvas, or a coffee with friends. So this is a place for stories to be told, stories from the past, and stories that are still in progress. I was thinking about one of our small group books that we read together. So we read Annie F. Downs, if you're listening. She should be, right? We did one of her books.
Bestie number two for you.
Right.
She just needs to know.
That's a whole other. We went to a live podcast for Annie F. Downs. And okay, so we'll talk. Well, and so the book that I'm going to talk about that we read as a group was on the Enneagram. I was the confused.
Wait, we did her book on the
No,
Enneagram?
no, no, no,
Oh,
no.
another book. Oh, okay.
I'm
I was gonna say, I
jumping.
think we did Looking for Lovely.
We did
Yeah.
Looking for Lovely, and then we did the Enneagram
Yes.
book. Uh, I am at the time I thought I was a two. I'm pretty set that I'm a seven with a lot of two in me. Sometimes I would say like I'm a 27 or a 70, 72, which is probably accurate. But I've accepted, I really do think that in my most thriving and who I do think seven is who I am. But here's where that comes into play. Erin, you're a one.
One. Yes. No confusion for me. No other number is going to be blended. It is very,
No.
very clear.
Yes, very clear. But we went to back to Annie F. Downs. We went to her live podcast. Do you remember this? We dressed in sparkle because she likes sparkle. And here's where the seven came out. This is a very seven moment. Like this probably should have been when we solidified it. You all knew what we were doing. It was you and a few other girls, and halfway through the drive, I said, "Well, what is actually happening today?"
Yes. Like, so what are we doing? Like, what do you mean, what are we doing?
Angela, how do you not know? I said, "I don't know. I have no idea. I know we're seeing her, but it just sounded like fun." So I said yes.
Which is hilarious because that is the name of her podcast, is That Sounds Fun.
Right.
So
Yes,
you were actually very on trend without even knowing it.
I was. Well, is she a seven or an eight? She's one of them, I
She's
think.
a seven with a strong eight wing.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Which is why we should be friends.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna happen. There you go.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
So, yes, and you and I had fun after doing that book on the Enneagram. I remember we would have conversations like, okay, so the disciples, what do you think their Enneagram is?
Yes, that was fun to go
Yeah.
through all of those. And I think we decided Peter was a obvious seven.
Yeah. 100, which is why I love him so much.
And I love Paul because I'm fairly certain he's a one.
Uh,
Yeah.
yes. At one point, I think I thought Paul was an eight until I started learning more because he is that not afraid to challenge. But
Mhm.
no, Paul is a definite one.
Yeah. Which it's funny. You either really love when you come across people that are your same number, or because they reflect back to you not just your strengths, but also areas in which you need to grow. It can also be a little bit off putting. But I think when I feel more conviction from something that Paul says, it's because I recognize why he's saying what he's saying.
Yeah.
And it just digs a little bit deeper into, okay, well, where could I be sanctified in that? Because it's hitting me in a, oh, I feel so judged, and
Yeah.
I don't feel like this is the love that the Bible's supposed to offer. It's like, no, the Lord loves you enough to say, this is not bringing you closer to me.
Right. This exactly.
Yeah. But
We
Paul isn't
are
going to be very soft about it.
no, not at all. Not yeah. And I think Paul and Peter are both uh so they're who they are. Like they're both not lukewarm about anything.
No.
They're just different how they approach it and probably different motivation even within there, which, goes to the Enneagram and all of that. But Peter's like let's just go. I don't know. Let's give it a try. Come on.
Let's cut this guy's ears off. Let's see what
Yeah,
happens.
exactly. Which great like miracles get to happen because of Peter's mistakes at times. And Paul is just the no, it is black and white. There is no gray.
It's like, well,
We were talking about Paul in church this weekend. In First Corinthians 4 is the whole chapter is kind of like I don't worry about which I ones do worry about what people think, but it's kind of the like I don't worry about what you think. I'm gonna do what's right. Like and what if I feel it is right, it doesn't really matter what anyone else thinks. I'm and then at the end it's that famous quote where it could be taken in such an off-putting way, but when you think about it and how he did it, it's the quote of do as kind of like do as I do, like
mm,
walk in lit, which can sound like a are you just arrogant? But when you look at Paul, and being a one, like he is there is if you are truly able to tell someone like do as I do because you are confident that you are walking well, that's a
mhm.
great thing.
Well,
Just
especially because as a one, we're so critical of ourselves.
yes,
Like we
right.
can come across as very critical to other people.
Yes.
And I think something that somebody said about being a one, it's like, yeah, that is definitely something we need to work on to our execution and our approach with what we're saying.
Mhm.
But if we come across as critical to you, just know it's about 100 times worse in our mind about ourselves.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if he, like you're saying, if he is that confident,
Mhm.
not necessarily in his own strength or
Right.
his own, even his own moral compass, but rather saying, I know what the Lord says. And I am so concerned about making sure I'm falling in line with that. And I think that I am.
Right.
Therefore, I am a walking arrow to the cross. I
Ex-
am pointing you to God, and I'm confident in that. So walk with me because I'm walking with Him.
Exactly. Right. And I think nowadays, if I heard that this is what I said, if I heard a pastor say that, I would like run the other
Mm,
way. Um, but to think about why he was saying that is to go, okay, no, well, and even looking at like his transformation from wholeheartedly going one way with the Pharisees and
yep.
killing Christians, like he was so wholehearted about that, to then wholeheartedly, like there's no halfway. So, um, the motivation behind it, and he had done work, he had done major work to be able to say that. So,
Yeah. I love that.
oh, fun. Yeah, we could Enneagram the whole Bible.
Well, and it should be definitely said that if you take all nine of those numbers and in complete health,
Mm,
they
right,
reflect the character of God.
right,
You know, that we're not saying that this is my number and therefore I'm stuck in this and that's just,
right,
accept me for who I am. This is how I am been wired.
right,
It's what I really like about the Enneagram is that it can be a tool for you to
yes,
see how you're motivated and how you and what you tried to avoid and why,
hmm,
so that you can do the work of sanctification to become a healthier version to then
right,
reflect that character of God to others.
right,
Because, of course, we're not going to be able to reflect everything about the Lord. We are finite and we are flawed, but we are also the disciples. We are
hmm,
people that are going out into the world and saying, this is who God is,
yeah,
and this is how He has made me more refined in who He always meant me to be. These are the curated gifts He gave to me so that I can show you who He is.
right.
So I really like that it's for me, the Enneagram is a sanctification tool.
Totally. And I think it is fair to say like I don't, I don't use it as my Bible,
Right.
but I
Yes.
use it as even a tool of understanding for me and others. And it has
Mm-hmm.
helped me to go, okay, I'm a 7, so we think like fun and all those things all the time. And And it's not that I don't go into reality, but I tend towards optimism and to know that just because someone tends in a different way doesn't make either one of us right or wrong, but let's figure it out together. And so, anyways, I don't know if you know this. When I write a character, I didn't do it for my book, which we're going to talk about in a second. But when I write a character, like for VBS or for a script, I give each character an Enneagram number.
I love it.
Yeah, because I can write me a million ways, but then we
Mm.
would just have chaos on stage if we had all sevens on stage. Um, and it wouldn't be deep. It wouldn't show reality. And so I give them each a number so that I can really try to think about, okay, their motivating lines and why they're saying something and why they're doing something and what's motivating that. And so
Mm.
my scripts and character analysis have the number, the description, and then we go into all of that. So it's a
That's
helpful
really
thing.
smart.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
fun.
think you and I did this one afternoon. Like we went through Friends and New Girl, and I've
Hmm.
even done it for some of my son when he was little. Some of the shows like Bubble Guppies, they all do it too. No, it's true.
Yeah,
They all like you could just walk through it.
yeah.
They all follow the Enneagram numbers, and I'm not saying that's intentional like what you're doing, but I think that that's super smart to do that because, like you said, not only does it help us understand ourselves and become sanctified, but it gives us so much information to be compassionate and patient and actually appreciative
Yeah,
of what other people are bringing to the table too, because of the fact that they're reflecting a part of Jesus that we would otherwise maybe overlook or never see.
right. 100%.